Stop scrolling. This tiny 5-cent coin could be worth over $100,000. The 1913 Liberty Head nickel is one of the rarest coins ever made in the United States. Only 5 examples are known to exist, and collectors pay massive prices for even a glimpse of one. This legendary nickel was never officially released, making it a mystery that still fascinates coin hunters today. If you ever find a 5-cent coin with Lady Liberty on the front in the year 1913, don't spend it. You could be holding a life-changing hidden treasure. Did you know that a simple 5-cent coin from 1938 could be one of the most important nickels ever made in the United States? Many people overlook this coin because it looks ordinary, but the 1938 5-cent coin actually marks the beginning of a brand new era in American coinage. If you've ever found an old nickel and wondered if it might be valuable, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the 1938 5-cent coin is so special, how to identify it, and what makes certain examples worth far more than 5 cents a day. The 1938 United States 5-cent coin is famously known as the first year of the Jefferson nickel. Before 1938, the Buffalo nickel had been in circulation since 1913. While the Buffalo nickel is beloved today, it caused many problems during its time because the design wore down quickly. Important details like the date often disappeared after only a few years of use. Because of these issues, the U.S. Mint decided it was time for a new design, and that decision led directly to the creation of the 1938 5-cent coin. The new design featured Thomas Jefferson on the front of the coin. Jefferson was chosen because of his importance as one of America's founding fathers and the 3rd President of the United States. The designer, Felix Schlag, created a clean and modern portrait that was easier to strike and more durable in circulation. On the back of the coin, Schlag placed Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home. This made the 1938 5-cent coin the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real building that could still be visited. One of the most fascinating things about the 1938 5-cent coin is that it exists in multiple mint varieties. In 1938, the coin was produced at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia do not have a mint mark, while coins from Denver carry a small d, and coins from San Francisco display an S. Each of these mint marks plays an important role in determining rarity and value. The 1938 5-cent coin from Philadelphia had the highest production numbers. Because of this, it is generally the most common version found today. However, even common coins can be valuable depending on condition. A 1938 nickel that has strong details, original luster, and minimal wear can still attract strong interest from collectors, especially those building Jefferson nickel collections. The 1938 D 5-cent coin is particularly important. It had a much lower mintage compared to the Philadelphia issue, making it scarcer in all conditions. Collectors often seek out the Denver Mint version to complete early Jefferson nickel sets. Even circulated examples of the 1938 D nickel can carry noticeable premiums, while well-preserved examples can be worth significantly more. The rarest of the 3 is the 1938 S 5-cent coin. The San Francisco Mint produced the fewest nickels that year, making this version especially desirable. Many collectors consider the 1938 S Jefferson nickel a key early date in the series. Finding one in strong condition can be a big deal, especially if the coin still has sharp steps visible on Monticello. When talking about the 1938 5-cent coin, one feature collectors pay close attention to is the steps of Monticello on the reverse. These steps are often weakly struck or worn down over time. Coins that show clear, uninterrupted steps are far more difficult to find and are highly prized. This detail alone can dramatically increase a coin's desirability among Jefferson nickel collectors. The metal composition of the 1938 5-cent coin is another important factor. Like most nickels of the era, it is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This durable alloy helped the Jefferson nickel perform better in circulation compared to the Buffalo nickel. It also means the coin has a solid weight and feel that collectors appreciate. Many people ask whether the 1938 5-cent coin is rare. The answer depends on which mint it comes from and its condition. While millions are produced, survival rates drop sharply when you look for coins with minimal wear and strong details. Coins that were saved early or carefully stored tend to be much scarcer today. Another interesting aspect of the 1938 Jefferson nickel is its historical timing. This coin was introduced during the final years of the Great Depression. Despite economic hardship, the United States continued to improve its coinage designs, reflecting stability and national pride. Holding a 1938 5-cent coin is like holding a small piece of American history from a challenging but transformative period. Collectors also value the 1938 5-cent coin because it represents the beginning of a long-running design. The Jefferson nickel design would remain in use, with some modifications, for decades. That makes the 1938 issue especially meaningful, as it marks the starting point of a series still collected by millions today. If you're searching through old change or inherited coins, knowing how to identify a 1938 5-cent coin is essential. Look at the date carefully and check for a mint mark on the reverse to the right of Monticello. Even a worn coin can still be valuable depending on which mint produced it. Condition plays a major role in value. Coins that show heavy wear, smooth details, or damage will usually be worth less, but they can still be collectible. On the other hand, coins with sharp portraits, clean surfaces, and visible Monticello steps are far more desirable. Original surfaces and natural toning can also add appeal. One reason the 1938 5-cent coin remains popular is its accessibility. It's a coin that new collectors can realistically hope to find, while still offering enough challenge and variety to keep advanced collectors interested. This balance makes it one of the most studied and collected nickels in U.S. history. The demand for early Jefferson nickels has steadily grown over the years. As more collectors focus on classic American coinage, interest in first-year issues like the 1938 5-cent coin continues to rise. That ongoing interest helps support long-term value and collectability. If you're considering adding a 1938 5-cent coin to your collection, take your time to examine details closely. Look for clear lettering, strong facial features on Jefferson, and as much detail as possible on Monticello. These factors separate average examples from standout coins. In the end, the 1938 United States 5-cent coin is far more than just spare change. It represents a turning point in American coin design, a response to real-world problems, and a lasting tribute to one of America's most important historical figures. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced collector, this coin deserves a place of respect in U.S. numismatic history. Did you know that a simple 5-cent coin from 1940 could be sitting in someone's pocket or drawer today and still spark serious interest among collectors? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the 1940 United States 5-cent coin continues to attract attention, how to identify valuable details, and what makes certain examples far more desirable than others. The 1940 5-cent coin, commonly known as a Jefferson nickel, represents an important era in American coinage. Introduced just 2 years earlier in 1938, the Jefferson nickel replaced the iconic Buffalo nickel, marking a shift toward a more modern and refined design. By 1940, the design had become firmly established, and millions of Americans were using these coins every day during a time when the United States was emerging from the Great Depression and standing on the edge of World War II. The obverse of the 1945 cent coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, one of America's founding fathers and the third president of the United States. The word liberty appears to the right of Jefferson's portrait, followed by the year 1940. The phrase "In God We Trust" is positioned along the left side of the coin. This design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose work was chosen through a national competition. His design was praised for its dignity and classical appearance, which helped make the Jefferson nickel one of the longest-running designs in U.S. history. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. Above the building is the word Monticello, while 5 cents and United States of America appear below. The Latin motto E Pluribus Unum is displayed across the top. The clean and symmetrical design of the reverse reflects the artistic standards of the late 1930s and early 1940s, making the 1940 nickel visually appealing even by modern standards. In 1940, the United States Mint produced Jefferson nickels at 3 different facilities. Coins were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark, while the Denver Mint used a small d, and the San Francisco Mint used an S, both located on the reverse of the coin near Monticello. These mint marks play a significant role in collector interest and value, especially when combined with overall condition. The total mintage of 1940 Jefferson Nickels was quite high, which means these coins are not considered rare in general circulation. However, that does not mean they are unimportant or worthless. In fact, collector demand focuses heavily on condition, originality, and strike quality. Coins that have survived with minimal wear, strong details, and original luster are far more desirable than heavily circulated examples. One of the most important things collectors look for on a 1945-cent coin is the sharpness of the details, especially on Monticello. Many Jefferson Nickels from this era suffer from weak strikes, meaning the steps of Monticello on the reverse are not fully defined. Coins that show clear, uninterrupted steps are especially attractive to collectors and can significantly increase interest and desirability. The composition of the 1945-cent coin is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a total weight of 5 grams and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. This standard alloy was used for most Jefferson Nickels until World War II, when metal shortages led to the creation of the famous Silver War nickels. Because the 1940 issue predates those changes, it represents the last years of pre-war nickel coinage. Historically, the year 1940 was a fascinating time in the United States. The nation was rebuilding its economy, industrial production was increasing, and everyday objects like coins played a crucial role in daily transactions. A 1940 nickel may have passed through countless hands, been used in vending machines, or carried in the pockets of Americans who lived through one of the most transformative decades in history. From a collector's perspective, the 1940 Jefferson nickel serves as a foundational coin for building a complete date and mint mark set. Many collectors seek one example from each mint, often upgrading over time as better condition coins become available. This steady demand keeps interest in the 1940 nickel alive, even decades after it was first minted. Another reason the 1945-cent coin remains popular is its affordability compared to earlier and rarer U.S. coins. This makes it an excellent entry point for new collectors who want to explore American numismatics without a large financial commitment. At the same time, advanced collectors may pursue exceptionally well-preserved examples to enhance the quality of their collections. When examining a 1940 nickel, collectors pay close attention to wear on Jefferson's hair, cheek, and jawline, as well as the clarity of the lettering. On the reverse, the strength of Monticello's columns and steps can reveal how well the coin was struck. Even small differences in detail can greatly influence collector appeal. Over the years, many 1940 nickels have been cleaned or damaged, which can reduce their desirability. Original surfaces and natural toning are highly valued in the numismatic community. Coins that have avoided harsh cleaning or environmental damage are far more appealing and easier to sell or trade among collectors. The Jefferson Nickel series as a whole has become one of the most collected in U.S. history, and the 1940 issue plays a key role in that story. It represents the early years of the design, before major changes occurred during wartime production. This historical positioning adds depth and significance to the coin beyond its face value. Collectors also appreciate the consistency of the Jefferson Nickel design. Holding a 1940 example offers a direct visual connection to nearly a century of American coinage history. The same basic design remained in use for decades, making early examples like the 1940 nickel especially meaningful to those who enjoy tracing the evolution of U.S. money. If you have a 1945-cent coin, it's worth taking a closer look. Check the date, inspect the reverse for a mint mark, and examine the overall condition. Even common coins can tell extraordinary stories, and sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference. In the world of coin collecting, knowledge is just as valuable as a coin itself. Understanding the background, design, and historical context of the 1940 Jefferson nickel helps collectors appreciate why this coin continues to be discussed, searched, and collected today. As we wrap up, remember that the 1940 United States 5-cent coin is more than just a piece of metal. It's a snapshot of American history, a product of skilled artistry, and a lasting symbol of everyday life in the early 20th century. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just discovering the hobby, the 1940 Jefferson Nickel offers a fascinating blend of history, design, and enduring appeal. You have a 5-cent coin dated 1969 with a small D mint mark. Don't skip this video, because this ordinary-looking U.S. nickel could tell a much bigger story than you ever imagined. Today we're diving deep into the 1969 D 5-cent coin from the United States, exploring its history, design details, minting background, errors, varieties, value potential, and why collectors still search rolls and collections for this specific nickel. Many people think modern nickels are worthless, but the truth is far more interesting, especially when you understand what makes a 1969D Jefferson nickel stand out. The 5-cent coin, commonly known as a Jefferson nickel, has been part of American pocket change since 1938. By 1969, the United States was going through massive cultural, political, and economic changes. The Vietnam War, the space race, and inflation were all shaping the country. Despite these changes, the Jefferson nickel remained familiar in design, with Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the front and his historic home, Monticello, on the back. The 1969D nickel represents this era perfectly, bridging classic American coinage with the modern age. The 1969D 5-cent coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark located to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. This mint produced a very large number of nickels in 1969, making the coin common in circulated condition. However, common does not always mean uninteresting. Collectors pay close attention to condition, strike quality, and especially mint errors and varieties, which can turn an everyday nickel into a valuable collectible. On the obverse, or front side, the coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. This design was created by Felix Schlag, and by 1969 it had already been in use for over 3 decades. The word liberty appears to the right of Jefferson, followed by the date 1969. The motto, "In God We Trust," is placed along the left rim. On well-preserved examples, Jefferson's hair details, cheek, and jawline appear sharp and well-defined. On heavily circulated coins, these features are often worn smooth, which can significantly affect collector interest and value. The reverse side shows Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home. Above it are the words E pluribus unum, while Monticello appears directly below the building. Under that, the denomination 5 cent and United States of America complete the design. The Denver Mint mark D sits to the right of Monticello and is an important detail collectors always check. The clarity of Monticello's steps is one of the most critical factors in evaluating Jefferson nickels, including the 1969D. The composition of the 1969D 5-cent coin is 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a total weight of 5 grams and a diameter of 21.21 millimeters. This standard composition had been used since the nickel's introduction, making it durable and resistant to wear. Because of this metal content, the coin has no silver value, but its collectible value depends entirely on condition, rarity of errors, and demand. One of the most talked about aspects of Jefferson nickels is the concept of full steps. This refers to the steps of Monticello on the reverse side. When all the steps are clearly visible and uninterrupted, collectors consider the coin more desirable. Due to heavy production and fast minting processes, many 1969D nickels do not show fully defined steps. Finding a sharply struck example with clear steps can be challenging, which is why collectors pay close attention to this detail. Circulated 1969D nickels are extremely common and are often worth only face value. You may still find them in pocket change, old jars, or bankrolls. However, uncirculated examples, especially those with strong strikes and clean surfaces, are far more desirable. Coins that have never been used in everyday transactions often retain their original luster, which can greatly increase their appeal to collectors. Errors and varieties are where the 1969D 5-cent coin becomes especially exciting. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong during the striking process, and these mistakes can make a coin rare and valuable. Some known errors to watch for include off-center strikes, where the design is not properly centered on the coin. These errors are visually dramatic and highly collectible, especially when the date and mint mark are still visible. Another error type collectors look for is doubled die errors. These occur when the coin is struck with a die that is a doubled image, causing certain letters or numbers to appear doubled. On a 1969D nickel, doubling might be visible on the date, the word liberty, or other inscriptions. Genuine doubled die errors are rare and can command strong premium compared to normal coins. Die cracks and die breaks are also commonly collected errors. These appear as raised lines or blobs of metal caused by cracks in the die used to strike the coin. While minor die cracks are common and usually at little value, large or dramatic cracks can make a 1969D nickel much more interesting to collectors. Each era tells a story about the coin's journey through the minting process. Another variety collectors watch for is weak strikes. Due to high-speed production, some 1969 D nickels were struck with less pressure, resulting in softer details. While weak strikes are not always valuable, certain collectors specialize in these coins as part of minting history. Comparing weakly struck coins with sharply struck examples can be a fascinating way to understand how minting conditions affected coin quality. The historical context of 1969 also adds depth to this nickel. During this time, the U.S. Mint was producing massive quantities of coins to meet demand from a growing economy. Coin collecting was becoming increasingly popular among Americans, partly due to the recent removal of silver from circulating coinage earlier in the decade. This shift pushed many collectors to focus on condition, errors, and varieties rather than precious metal content. Because of this, many people saved rolls of nickels from the 1960s, including the 1969 D. Some of these rolls remain unopened today, offering collectors a chance to find high-quality examples decades later. Searching through old rolls can still yield coins with strong luster and minimal contact marks, making roll hunting a popular hobby among Jefferson nickel enthusiasts. When it comes to value, most circulated 1969 D nickels remain worth 5 cents. However, uncirculated examples can be worth significantly more, especially when they show strong eye appeal. Coins with clean surfaces, bright original luster, and sharp details tend to be the most desirable. Error coins and high-quality examples with well-defined steps can bring even higher prices, depending on demand and condition. Storage and preservation are also important when dealing with collectible nickels. Because the copper-nickel alloy is prone to toning and spotting over time, proper storage can make a big difference. Keeping coins in a cool, dry environment and avoiding direct handling helps preserve their surfaces. Even a common coin like the 1969 D can benefit from careful storage if it's in above-average condition. Collectors often include the 1969 D 5-cent coin in Jefferson nickel date and mint mark sets. Completing a full set is a rewarding challenge, and each coin represents a small piece of American history. Imagine holding a simple 5-cent coin in your hand and discovering that this everyday piece of change connects you directly to American history, economic shifts, and hidden collector interest. Today we're diving deep into the 1974 United States 5-cent coin, commonly known as a Jefferson nickel, a coin that millions of Americans use daily yet very few truly understand. This coin may look ordinary at first glance, but once you uncover its background, mint varieties, metal composition, and collector demand, you'll realize why the 1974 nickel still attracts attention decades later. The 1974 5-cent coin was issued during a time of major economic change in the United States. Inflation was rising, gas shortages were affecting daily life, and the nation was adjusting after the end of the Vietnam War. Despite these challenges, the U.S. Mint continued producing Jefferson nickels in extremely large quantities to meet everyday circulation needs. This makes the 1974 nickel one of the most widely produced 5-cent coins in American history, yet it still holds interesting value depending on condition, mint mark, and unique characteristics. The obverse of the 1974 nickel features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. This design was first introduced in 1938 and remained largely unchanged through 2003. Jefferson faces left, with the word liberty and the year 1974 clearly visible. The phrase "In God We Trust" appears along the left edge of the coin. Over time, circulation wear often softens Jefferson's facial features, making sharp examples increasingly desirable among collectors. On the reverse side, the coin displays Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home. Above the building is the word Monticello, while 5 cents and United States of America appear below. The architectural details of Monticello, including the steps and dome, are key areas collectors examine when evaluating the coin's quality. Strong detail on the steps is especially important, as these areas were down quickly in circulation. The 1974 Jefferson nickel were produced at 3 different mints. Coins with no mint mark were struck in Philadelphia, those with a D mint mark came from Denver, and those marked with an S were produced in San Francisco. Philadelphia and Denver coins were made for everyday use, while San Francisco primarily produced proof versions intended for collectors. Each mint produced a coin in different quantities, which plays a major role in scarcity and value today. Philadelphia produced over 600 million 1974 nickels, making it the most common version. Denver followed closely, striking more than 400 million coins. With numbers like these, it's no surprise that most 1974 nickels are still worth face value in circulated condition. However, condition is everything when it comes to coin value. Coins that avoided heavy circulation and retained sharp detail can be significantly more desirable. The San Francisco Mint struck proof versions of the 1974 nickel with a mirror-like finish and exceptional detail. These coins were never intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors in special sets. Proof nickels stand out due to their sharp strikes, polished surfaces, and crisp design elements. Even decades later, collectors actively seek these coins, especially those that have been well preserved. The metal composition of the 1974 5-cent coin is another fascinating detail. Like most Jefferson nickels, it contains 75% copper and 25% nickel. This alloy gives the coin its distinctive silver-gray appearance and durability. Unlike some other U.S. coins from different eras, the 1974 nickel contains no silver, meaning its value is not tied to precious metal prices. Instead, collector value depends entirely on condition, rarity, and demand. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1974 nickel is the presence of errors and varieties. These coins are produced in massive numbers using high-speed minting equipment, which occasionally resulted in mistakes. Some collectors search specifically for doubled lettering, off-center strikes, clip planches, or misaligned dies. While most errors are minor, dramatic examples can be worth many times more than face value. Another detail collectors pay attention to is strike quality. Because the nickel alloy is relatively hard, weak strikes are common. Coins with strong details on Jefferson's hair and clear steps on Monticello stand out. Well-struck examples from both Philadelphia and Denver are harder to find than heavily worn pieces, making them more appealing to advanced collectors. The historical context of 1974 adds another layer of interest. This was a year marked by political change, with President Richard Nixon resigning from office. The economy was under pressure, and everyday coins like the nickel played a vital role in daily commerce. Every 1974 nickel tells a story of grocery purchases, bus fares, vending machines, and everyday American life during a transformative decade. In circulated condition, most 1974 nickels are worth 5 cents. However, coins that remain in exceptional condition can be worth significantly more. Uncirculated examples with strong detail and clean surfaces often sell for a premium among collectors. Proof versions from San Francisco are especially popular due to their visual appeal and limited production compared to circulation strikes. Collectors often recommend examining old rolls, jars of change, or inherited coin collections for 1974 nickels. While the odds of finding a rare are low, they are not zero. Many valuable coins have been discovered by people who took the time to look closely at everyday change. This sense of possibility is one reason coin collecting remains so popular. The 1974 Jefferson nickel also holds educational value. It serves as an excellent example for new collectors learning about mint marks, coin design, metal composition, and the importance of condition. Because a coin is affordable and widely available, it allows beginners to practice evaluating coins without high financial risk. Over time, interest in Jefferson nickels has grown steadily. As collectors complete date and mint mark sets, demand for high-quality examples continues to increase. While the 1974 nickel may not be rare today, the number of pristine examples naturally decreases over time, adding to their long-term appeal. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to explore the world of coins, the 1974 5-cent coin offers a fascinating blend of history, design, and hidden potential. It represents a moment in American history captured in metal, quietly circulating through millions of hands before finding its way into collections around the world. The next time you come across a 1974 nickel, take a moment to examine it closely. Look at Jefferson's portrait, study the details of Monticello, and check for a mint mark. What seems like a simple coin might carry a story, a lesson, or even a small premium waiting to be discovered. Coins like the 1974 Jefferson nickel remind us that history isn't only found in museums or textbooks. Sometimes it's right there in your pocket, waiting to be noticed. If you enjoyed learning about this classic U.S. 5-cent coin and want to discover more hidden stories behind everyday change, keep exploring, keep searching, and keep your curiosity alive, because even the most common coin can hold uncommon value.